fucking god, she fucking dead.
There is a very, very thin line between good, dark comedy and bad, edgy garbage, and it takes an exceptionally talented storyteller to walk that tightrope. Especially because the pressure is always on in that there is no net underneath. If you screw up, it's just the bottomless pit of memes and artistic failure and people calling you an incel. It's just a tough niche to navigate. And if you need any proof, just look at the difference between the two Suicide Squad movies. Among the very commonest ways to air your story as opposed to gun, aside from alleged studio interference, is to misinterpret the pillars of moral ambiguity. Achieving an appropriate balance of moral tension between the characters, the setting, and theme is both a vital and volatile process, and compounds in direct relation to the intensity of any given factor. But a great dark comedy is so very worth the risk because it burrows into a very special piece of our toxic little battery acid pumping hearts, often reminding us that there is something precious to be found in even the deepest depths of even the darkest holes of life. Yeah. Case in point, Q Hayashida's bizarre dystopian romp Dorohedoro has become one of my absolute favorites. Dorohedoro? Doro? Maybe I'll just interchange them for variety. Whatever it is, it's a story that absolutely nails a morally ambiguous dark comedy, taking a brutal world of manic, wanton murder and just, making the best of it, like any of us probably would. So I want to take a closer look at it today and point out how this ostensibly ridiculous idea manages to hit that rare tonal sweet spot with a distinct metallic aftertaste. That was a blood joke. This is a very violent series. The story follows amnesiac Kaiman, who's been cursed with a lizard head, his partner in crime, Nikaido, and their misadventures killing random sorcerers in hope they stumble onto the one who put this spell on Kaiman. Look at how proud of each other they are, aren't they adorable? I love these two dummies. The thing is, this lands them on the shit list of crime boss N, the mushroom sorcerer, which is much more metal than it sounds, his beefcake cleaners Shin and Noe, and then there's Fujita and Ebisu, who are just basically like adopted house lackeys. There's a lot more characters, but I really don't have all day here. The point is, there's some even more bad blood than usual brewing between the glitzy topside and the place everyone literally calls the hole. What makes Dorohedoro so unique is that despite its wacky pseudo-steampunk world of magic classism, it actually operates mostly like a crime ensemble, not especially unlike Pulp Fiction or Snatch. You have a MacGuffin at the center, numerous parties interconnected with varying degrees of recognition, and a fairly cohesive set of values that set everyone at odds, depending on how much they personally interact. Nobody's particularly good or right, but there's a main character of sorts who serves as the closest thing you're gonna get to the guy you're supposed to root for. Unlike the standard crime ensemble, the MacGuffin in this case is information. Specifically, Kaiman's true identity, or the identity of the Cross-Eyes leader, and also how they're connected, which sounds like three things, but it'll make more sense when you sit through it. You see, this is not a story about class disparity. It's a story about the dangers of personal vendettas, especially in a reality where survival is already a daily struggle. The world of Dorohedoro is a two-story bloodbath, where the only things that matter are being good at magic or being good at killing people who are good at magic. Doing so gives Hayashida a perfect setting to pit characters against each other without any of them being necessarily the good guy or the bad guy. In fact, MAPPA's anime adaptation actually makes some clever strides to further humanize the characters. Aside from cutting out most of the swearing and nudity, the anime makes Shin and Noe a bit more egalitarian in their dynamic, at least attempts to make En a little less of a dick, though he is still the relative bricktop of the bunch, and overall has everyone play just a little bit nicer with the black sheep Fujita and Ebisu. They're small changes, but they go a long way in polishing over the nuances lost in adapting a longer run of the constantly zigzagging plot. And when I say this thing flies around almost randomly, I really mean it. The benefit of such a nebulous MacGuffin as raw information and a world in which even the most mundane of activities involves a risk of gruesome death is that the plot itself can really do anything, as long as everyone still bumps into each other pretty consistently. There's resurrection parties, intramural baseball games, zombie hunting, a week-long magic career fair sort of thing, and it usually all ends in a fight because, as I said, the conflict here is akin more to sporting rivalry than climactic showdowns. Why? Well, because everyone's kind of immortal in this series. Not literally, but actually pretty close. Kaiman's head gets torn off at one point, and he's fine, like 2 days later. Everyone believes each other to be the missing link in their puzzle boards, and to kidnap, torture, or kill each other is really all they can do while they attempt to sort out the absolute messes they're currently stuck in. The result is a collection of loosely connected misadventures where any varying combination of protagonists spot each other across the proverbial bar and cause unseemly carnage in the middle of an already chaotic event, coming out the other side with some answers but even more questions. All of this maybe feels like the building blocks of a less than brilliant story, as angry weirdos with tragic backstories run around killing everyone but each other while wry and absurdist jokes pop out of nowhere like a used car salesman just trying to convince you that you're having a good time. But this series is unironically a blast, and more importantly, it's good, because it doesn't forget the little things.
I once had some sweet memories.
There's this scene where Fujita and Ebisu are getting bullied in a back alley, and then Shin and Noe come in and viciously, horrifically murder these guys to protect their colleagues. And Fujita's like shocked and humiliated, just standing there staring at the dead body sandwich in front of him, and Shin and Noe go, "You know what, buddy? Let's go get you some ice cream. How does that sound?" In the wrong hands, this is an embarrassingly dumb scene. There just to show us how cool and strong ends cleaners are. Let's go get a treat, they say, for this man we cut in half cannot sully our good day. But Kyu Hayashida knows what she's doing, and so this scene is instead about showing us that Shin and Noe are trying their best to be good friends. It's unambiguous that these two lumbering death machines are so used to violence that they now legitimately enjoy anything resembling a challenge, and that's just who they are. Fujita and Ebisu are not death machines. They're basically kids, useless and defeated. And Shin and Noe genuinely want to make them feel better in their own meathead kind of way. The secret sauce to this dark and splattery tone isn't like sex and one-liners, nor is it Thousand Island. No, for the most part, it's just execution with a healthy dose of heart. The jokes have to actually be funny, the characters have to be three-dimensional. Everything has to make sense within the world. And as dark and depressing a whole as the whole happens to be, the people who live in it still need to be happy when they can. That's where Kyu Hayashida's character work comes in, and the even secreter secret sauce of context does its job. This is a series that plays trash bags full of Shin's gross living sashimi victims, both for laughs and for a brief but powerful moment of reflection and philosophical musing, literally within a few scenes of each other. And they both work, in fact, feed off of each other, because of the experiences surrounding the characters in these distinct scenes. No matter the scenario, the characters come first in Hayashida's writing, and they don't ever act out of turn for the sake of being cool or raising stakes. In this very terrible world, they're always looking for ways to enjoy themselves when they can, and hold on to their healthy relationships very dearly. leading to moments that range from charming to deeply emotional, stuffed between all the kooky nonsense and brutal violence. Now, this doesn't mean there aren't some truly absurd moments sprinkled onto this gonzo smorgasbord of dystopian fantasy. Look at this guy. His mask is just a fully cooked turkey. That's funny as shit, and it does absolutely nothing for the story. But it knows that, and it's fun. Dorohedoro knows exactly when to take itself seriously, and how to do so in an otherwise bananas setting. I mean, I simply can't oversell the humble importance of execution, but I'm really gonna try. The means through which Hayashida weaves the characters into each other's paths are endlessly clever, as is her dialogue. The details of the world are as ridiculous as they are creative. The plotting and pacing and comedic timing is so vacuum tight, it's all just so well done. And at the end of the day, that's what makes Dorohedoro so easy to buy into. It's hard not to root for all these goobers to be happy, no matter how evil they can be from time to time. And you find yourself so deeply invested because you can always see them trying. You can feel that the intent is not to judge these characters, or worse, try to make them look especially badass at any given moment. For the most part, they're all just doing their thing, and it's charming much more often than not. When you look at the entire spectrum of edgy garbage across modern media, the closest thing to a constant you're going to find is an unwillingness to have any real fun, to sacrifice what is supposed to be read as cool for any truly frivolous joy. Stories that are almost sterilized in their grime, afraid to be caught not taking themselves seriously, just like their terrible demographic. Dorohedoro is entirely unashamed of how much fun it's having in even the most savagely violent scenes, and peacocks on its competition by saving room for heartfelt moments and charming slice-of-life nonsense. That's really the best thing about it, and it's something more dark comedies and dystopian fiction alike should have the good sense to try. We've all got a little bit of cruelty in us, a little bit of darkness, a little edge. It's healthy to indulge in the giddiness of it all every once in a while, as long as we still make sure to see the sunny side. Now, please enjoy my absolute favorite moment from the entire anime.
It's nighttime! It's nighttime! It's nighttime!
It's just so fucking stupid.